The letter arrived in a crisp, cream-colored envelope, sealed with the embossed crest of my father's estate. My hands trembled as I tore it open, the words inside slicing through me like a blade. "You are not my daughter." My sister's voice, cold and venomous, echoed in my mind from our last fight, and now here was proof, or so I thought. I'm Emily, 30 years old, the younger of two sisters in a family that glittered with wealth but fractured under secrets. Growing up in the shadow of our father's billion-dollar empire, I always felt like the outsider. Claire, my older sister, was the golden child, poised, polished, and always at Dad's side during board meetings or gala dinners. I was the quiet one, the dreamer who preferred sketching in the garden to navigating the corporate world. Claire never let me forget it. "You're not cut out for this family," she'd sneered just last month, her words a whip across my heart. "You're not even really one of us." The letter wasn't from Claire, though. It was from Dad's lawyer, summoning me to the reading of his will. Dad had passed 3 weeks ago, a sudden heart attack that left us reeling. I hadn't seen him in months, not since our last strained phone call where he'd urged me to step up and join the family business. I'd refused, clinging to my art, my independence. Now, standing in my tiny apartment, clutching that letter, I felt the weight of his absence, and Claire's cruelty, more than ever. The drive to the estate was a blur of autumn leaves and dread. The mansion loomed ahead, its marble columns and sprawling gardens a testament to Dad's success. Inside, the air was thick with tension. Claire sat at the head of the mahogany table in the study, her designer suit immaculate, her eyes glinting with something dangerous. Beside her was her husband, Mark, a slick lawyer who always seemed to be calculating his next move. The lawyer, Mr. Grayson, adjusted his glasses and began. "Mr. Harold Bennett's last will and testament," he intoned, his voice steady. I braced myself, expecting Claire to inherit everything. The company, the estate, the private jets. She'd always been Dad's favorite, his protégé. I'd get a token sum, maybe enough to keep my art supplies stocked. But as Grayson read on, the room tilted. "To my daughter, Emily Bennett, I leave the entirety of my estate, including Bennett Enterprises, all properties and liquid assets, to be managed solely by her." Claire's gasp was sharp, like glass shattering. My heart stopped. The words didn't make sense. Everything? To me? I glanced at Claire, her face pale, her lips trembling with barely contained fury. Mark's hand tightened on her arm, but she yanked it away. "This is a mistake," she spat, her voice low and dangerous. "Emily? She's not even—" She stopped herself, but the unspoken words hung heavy. "Not really family." Grayson continued, unmoved, detailing the billions in assets now in my name. Couldn't breathe. This wasn't just money. It was power, control, a legacy I'd never wanted but now held in my shaking hands. Claire stood, her chair scraping against the floor. "You did something," she hissed, pointing at me. "You manipulated him, didn't you? You, with your pathetic sketches and your sad little life." Her words stung, but I was too stunned to respond. Mark tried to pull her back, but she stormed out, leaving a chill in her wake. That night, alone in the guest room of the mansion, I couldn't sleep. The will was a bombshell, but Claire's reaction was a warning. She'd always been ruthless, but this was war. I stared at the ceiling, Dad's voice echoing in my mind. "Step up, Emily." Had he known what this would do to us? Had he chosen me to punish Claire, or to save me? The next morning, I found Claire in the kitchen, her eyes red but her posture rigid. "You don't deserve this," she said, her voice low. "You've never worked for it. You've never belonged here." I wanted to scream, to tell her I hadn't asked for this, but something in her gaze stopped me. A flicker of desperation, of fear. For the first time, I saw Claire not as my untouchable sister, but as someone unraveling. "I didn't manipulate him," I said quietly, "but I'm not giving it up." The words surprised me, firm and unyielding. Claire's eyes narrowed, and I knew this was only the beginning. She'd fight me, tooth and nail, for what she thought was hers, and I'd have to fight back, not just for the money, but for the truth about why Dad chose me. The days after the will reading were a storm of whispers and schemes. Claire didn't speak to me directly, but her presence lingered like a shadow. I stayed at the mansion, sorting through Dad's papers, trying to make sense of my new reality. The weight of Bennett Enterprises, its factories, its investments, its thousands of employees, pressed on me. I wasn't ready for this. I'd spent my life avoiding the corporate world. Yet here I was, its unexpected heir. Claire, meanwhile, was plotting. I overheard her on the phone one evening, her voice sharp and urgent. "Find something, anything," she said. "There has to be a way to contest it." I didn't know who she was talking to, but the venom in her tone made my skin crawl. Mark was no better, his polite smiles masking a calculating mind. He'd taken to advising me, offering to help manage the estate. I declined, but his persistence unnerved me. I needed answers. Why had Dad done this? I spent hours in his study, surrounded by leather-bound books and the faint scent of his cologne. Among his files, I found a locked journal, its key tucked in a hidden drawer. My hands shook as I opened it. The entries were sparse, written in Dad's precise handwriting, but one caught my eye. "Emily is my heart, but Claire is my ambition. I failed them both." The words hit like a punch. His heart? Me? I'd always thought he saw me as a disappointment, too soft for his world. But the journal told a different story. He wrote about my art, my kindness, my refusal to bend to his expectations. "She's stronger than she knows," he'd written. "Stronger than Claire, who craves power but not purpose." I closed the journal, tears blurring my vision. Had he seen something in me I couldn't? Claire's attacks escalated. She spread rumors to the board, claiming I was unfit to lead, that Dad had been coerced. She even hired a private investigator, I learned, to dig into my past. I confronted her in the garden, where we'd played as children. "Why can't you let this go?" I asked, my voice breaking. "You have everything, Mark. Your career, your life." "Everything?" she snapped. "You think I wanted to be Dad's puppet? I worked my whole life for him, and he gave it all to you." Her voice cracked, revealing a wound I hadn't seen before. For a moment, I wanted to reach out, to bridge the chasm between us. But then she said, "You're not his daughter, Emily. You never were." The accusation stopped me cold. It wasn't new. She'd hurled it at me before, but now it felt different, sharper. Was she just lashing out? Or did she know something I didn't? I stormed back to the study, digging through more files, desperate for clarity. That's when I found it. A letter from Mom, dated a year before she died. "Harold, you promised to tell Emily the truth about her birth." My heart pounded. The truth? I was adopted. I knew that. Dad and Mom had told me when I was 10. But the letter hinted at something more, something hidden. I called Grayson, demanding answers. He hesitated, then admitted Dad had left a sealed envelope for me, to be opened only if I asked the right questions. "You're asking them now," he said, and promised to bring it tomorrow. That night, Claire cornered me in the hallway. "You're digging, aren't you?" she said, her eyes wild. "You won't like what you find." I held her gaze, my fear hardening into resolve. "Maybe," I said, "but I'm done running from the truth." The sealed envelope from Grayson arrived at dawn, its weight heavy in my hands. I locked myself in Dad's study, heart racing, and tore it open. Inside was a single page, written in Dad's hand. "Emily, you are my daughter, no matter what anyone says. Your mother and I chose you, not by blood, but by love. There's more to your story, but it's yours to uncover when you're ready." The words blurred through my tears. Chosen by love. But what was the more he mentioned? I felt a mix of relief and frustration. Relief that Dad's love was real, frustration at the secrets still buried. I tucked the letter away, determined to find answers, but Claire's shadow loomed larger than ever. She'd escalated her campaign. The board was restless, swayed by her whispers that I was an imposter, unfit to lead. I overheard Mark telling a board member, "She's hiding something about her past. We'll prove it." Their strategy was clear: discredit me, force a legal challenge, and seize control. I wasn't just fighting for the inheritance now. I was fighting for my identity. I started attending board meetings, my hands trembling as I faced the skeptical faces of Dad's executives. Claire was there, poised and venomous, questioning every word I said. "Emily has no experience," she told them. "She's a liability." I wanted to shrink, to run back to my sketches, but Dad's words echoed, "Stronger than she knows." So I stayed, fumbling through presentations, learning the language of the empire I'd inherited. One night, I found an old photo album in the attic, tucked among Mom's things. It showed me as a baby, cradled by Mom and Dad with Claire, then Five glaring at the camera. The next pages were stranger, photos of another woman, strikingly similar to Mom, holding a newborn. My breath caught. Was this the truth Dad hinted at? Was this woman my biological mother? I tracked down Grayson again, demanding to know about the woman in the photos. He sighed, his face heavy with the burden of secrets. "Her name was Lila," he said. "Your mother's sister. She died shortly after you were born." My mind reeled. Mom's sister? Why had no one told me? Grayson handed me another letter, this one from Lila. "If you're reading this, Emily, know that I loved you. I gave you to my sister because I couldn't give you the life you deserved." The revelation shook me. I wasn't just adopted. I was family, tied to Mom by blood through her sister. But why had Dad and Mom kept this from me? And did Claire know? I confronted her that evening in the dining room, the photo album open between us. "Did you know about Lila?" I asked, my voice shaking. Claire's face paled, but she recovered quickly. "You think this changes anything? You're still an outsider." But her voice wavered, and I saw it again, that flicker of fear. She knew something, and she was terrified I'd uncover it. The truth about Lila changed everything. I wasn't just Dad's chosen daughter. I was tied to this family by blood. A secret buried to protect me, or perhaps to protect Claire's place as the true heir. But the more I uncovered, the more Claire fought back. She filed a formal challenge to the will, claiming Dad wasn't of sound mind. The board was divided, and the media caught wind, splashing headlines about the Bennett family feud. I threw myself into proving my worth. I studied Dad's business, stayed late with advisors, and even pitched ideas to the board. Some listened, impressed by my passion, but Claire's allies were relentless, painting me as a fraud. One night, I found a leaked email from Mark to a board member. "Emily's adoption papers are suspect. We're digging deeper." My stomach churned. What were they looking for? I turned to the journal again, hoping for more clues. Dad's entries grew darker toward the end. "Claire's ambition blinds her. I fear what she'll do to Emily." The words chilled me. Had he known Claire would try to destroy me? I found another entry, dated a week before his death. "I've made my choice. Emily will carry the legacy not because she wants it, but because she'll protect it." Protect it. The words lit a fire in me. I wasn't just fighting for money. I was fighting for Dad's trust, for the family he believed in. I hired my own lawyer, Sarah, a sharp woman who saw through Claire's tactics. "She's desperate," Sarah said. "But desperation makes people sloppy. We'll find her weak spot." Claire's weak spot revealed itself unexpectedly. At a board meeting, one of her allies slipped, mentioning a deal she'd made to sway votes. I pressed Sarah to investigate, and she uncovered payments from Claire to 2 board members, bribes to support her challenge. The evidence was damning, but I hesitated. Exposing Claire would ruin her, maybe forever. Despite everything, she was my sister. I confronted her privately, the evidence in hand. "Why, Claire?" I asked, my voice soft. "Why go this far?" For the first time, she didn't lash out. She sank into a chair, her face crumpling. I thought I was protecting what's mine, she whispered. Dad always chose you, even when I gave everything. Her words stung, but they also broke something open. He didn't choose me over you, I said. He chose me to stop you from destroying yourself. She looked at me, tears in her eyes, and for a moment, I saw the sister I'd loved as a child. But then she stood, her mask back in place. This isn't over, she said, and walked away. The evidence against Claire was a ticking bomb, but I couldn't bring myself to use it. Not yet. I wanted to believe there was still a way to save our relationship, to find the sister I'd once adored. But Claire wasn't making it easy. She doubled down, hiring a new lawyer to push her case, claiming I'd forged documents to secure the inheritance. The accusation was absurd, but it gained traction, fueled by her media connections. I leaned on Sarah, who urged me to fight fire with fire. Expose the bribes, she said. It's your only move. But I kept searching for another way, diving deeper into Dad's papers. That's when I found a video, tucked away on a USB drive in his safe. It was Dad, looking frail but resolute, recorded weeks before his death. If you're watching this, Emily, he said, it's because Claire's fighting you. Don't let her win. You're my daughter in every way that matters. Protect the company. Protect yourself. The video was a lifeline, but it also broke my heart. Dad had known Claire would come for me. Why hadn't he prepared me? I showed the video to Sarah, who said it could sway the board, maybe even the courts. But I needed more. I needed to understand why Claire hated me so much. I tracked down an old family friend, Margaret, who'd known Mom and Lila. Over tea in her cozy apartment, she told me the truth. Lila was troubled, she said. Addiction, bad choices. When she got pregnant with you, she begged your mom to take you. Claire was young, but she knew. She felt replaced. The pieces clicked. Claire's resentment wasn't just about the money. It was about me, the child who'd stolen her place. Armed with this, I tried to reach Claire one last time. I invited her to the mansion, just the two of us. I know about Lila, I said, laying out the photos and letters. I know why you've always pushed me away. She froze, her eyes darting to the papers. You don't understand, she said, her voice shaking. You took everything, Mom, Dad, now this. I didn't take them, I said. They chose me, just like they chose you. For a moment, I thought she'd soften, but then she laughed, bitter and cold. You think you're the hero? You're just a pawn in Dad's game. She left, slamming the door, and I knew I had no choice. The fight was coming whether I wanted it or not. The board meeting was set to decide the fate of the will. Claire's challenge had gained enough support to force a vote, and I knew it was now or never. I prepared meticulously with Sarah's help, gathering Dad's video, the bribe evidence, and my own plans for the company's future. I wasn't just fighting for the inheritance. I was fighting to prove I belonged. The room was packed, the air thick with anticipation. Claire sat across from me, her face a mask of confidence, but I saw the cracks, her hands fidgeting, her eyes darting. I presented first, showing Dad's video. His voice filled the room, steady and commanding, affirming me as his heir. Whispers rippled through the board. Claire's lawyer objected, but Sarah shut him down with legal precedent. Then I revealed the bribes. Gasps echoed as I projected the emails, the bank records, the proof of Claire's desperation. This isn't about the company, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. It's about trust. My sister broke that trust, not just with me, but with all of you. Claire's face crumpled, her allies shifting uncomfortably. The vote was unanimous. The will stood. Afterward, Claire found me in the hallway, her eyes blazing. You think you've won? She spat. You've destroyed me. I wanted to reach out, to tell her I hadn't wanted this, but her pain was a wall between us. I didn't destroy you, I said. You did this to yourself. She walked away, and I wondered if I'd ever see her again. Back in the study, I sat with Dad's journal, reading his final entry. Emily, forgive Claire. She's lost, but she's still your sister. Tears fell as I realized what he'd done. He'd given me the empire not to punish Claire, but to force us both to face our truths. I didn't want to run a company, but I wanted to honor him. I started sketching again, ideas for a foundation in Mom and Lila's names to help women like them. Maybe, in time, Claire could be part of it. Months passed, and the empire was mine, but it didn't feel like victory. The mansion was too quiet, the weight of Dad's legacy heavy on my shoulders. I threw myself into the company, learning its rhythms, earning the board's respect. But Claire's absence was a wound that wouldn't heal. She'd moved to a different city, cut off contact, and left a void I hadn't expected. I launched the Lila and Margaret Foundation, using part of the fortune to support women in crisis. It was my way of honoring Mom, Lila, and even Claire, though she'd never admit it. At the launch event, I stood before a crowd. My sketches turned into logos and campaigns, feeling Dad's pride in my bones. But my eyes kept searching for Claire, hoping she'd come. She didn't. Instead, I got a letter handwritten, shaky. I was wrong, it began. Not about the money, but about you. I'm sorry. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I wrote back, inviting her to visit, to talk. She didn't reply, but I held on to hope. Dad had believed in us both, and maybe one day we'd find our way back. Running the company became my purpose, but not my cage. I hired a CEO to handle the day-to-day, freeing me to create, to give back. The board respected my vision, and the employees rallied behind it. I wasn't Claire's version of family, but I was Dad's, and that was enough. One evening, as I walked through the garden, I found an old sketch I'd done as a child. A picture of me and Claire, holding hands. I tucked it into Dad's journal, next to his final words. Family is what you make it. I smiled, tears falling. Claire and I were broken, but not beyond repair. I keep fighting. For the company. For our past. For the sister I still loved.